In the morning of the 16th of December, after the violence had broke out and there had been fighting throughout the night, I took a decision. That decision was to open the gates of UNMISS, of our base, to the many civilians that were fleeing for their lives. Elderly, women, children, men, girls, boys, all of them dead afraid that something could happen to them. Some had also seen their own relatives die during the fighting. We opened the gates and we decided to give them refuge. This happened also in a number of other locations all over the country where fighting had erupted.
What we did was to allow them in. Before allowing them in, we made sure that every person coming in was thoroughly searched. The purpose for the search was to ensure that people did not come in with weapons or any implement which will pose danger to both UN staff and then to the civilians who were seeking protection.
Spoke to Radio Mirage after a field visit to...
My job entails me to inform people. When this crisis started in the country, I went on air to inform people about what is happening in the country. I talked to politicians, I talked to religious leaders, and I talked to people in the military to actually find out what is going on. I also talked to the citizens of the country to share their experiences, especially for those who has been fleeing the conflict that has happened or the crisis that started in mid-December.
We are actively involved in mapping all the conflict zone in the country and rapidly deploying troops in terms of static guard or mobile patrols to protect the civilians who have come inside the bases seeking refuge, also to reassure them in terms of mobility and mobile patrols that we are there and make them confident that as UNMISS stood by you during the freedom, we are here during the crisis and we are here to stay with you and ensure that environment and conditions are so created that you can go back from where you belong to.
I saw many South Sudanese rush into the UNMISS compound in Tomping, where I live. And after the gate was open, we tried to accommodate all the internally displaced persons, we call IDPs. And not only to accommodate, but to make sure their life ongoing in the UNMISS compound. Their life was saved, but they need to also survive through difficult times, especially in the UNMISS compound, because it's not originally their home, but they came to UNMISS compound almost without anything. So what we have committed, although we had a very limited resources, but we committed to deliver life-saving activities, such as drinking water with UNICEF and the International Committee of Red Cross, food distributions with WFP and the IOM, and the emergency latrine construction with Japanese contingent and the NGO's partners, and the medical treatments with UNMISS Clinic and Médecins Sans Frontières, etc., etc.
We are the FPUs. When there is a public disorder inside the POC site, we are always there. It's called like a public order management. And we are providing security to the UN personnel and protection of civilian inside the POC camp.
But UNMISS peacekeepers are not only protecting people within its bases. They are also out on patrols protecting civilians. In mid-April, hundreds of civilians were massacred in Bentiu. During the fighting, the mission's peacekeepers drove into Bentiu to rescue hundreds of civilians trapped in churches, mosques, hospitals, anywhere. They escorted them to safety, to the UNMISS base. Also, many more were given safe passage to the UN protection site. Without the life-saving actions of these peacekeepers, many, many more would have died. In the following 2 to 3 days, the number of IDPs in the camp tripled from 8,000 to approximately 30,000. Now, there are about 38,000 under the protection of UNMISS in Bentiu.